So guys, I'm excited to make this breakdown. I'm really impressed of how well the competitive side did for the Oceanic Nationals. So Oceanic had a big turnout, a really large community, everything like that. So without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. So first off, let's take a full look at the breakdown. 7 red hybrids at 43.8% of the whole meta. You had 3 Anubis at 18.8, 1 Bellastar at 6.3, Wargreymon at 6.3, 6.3 for Poop, Leo 6.3, Shine at 6.3, and 1 Deva at 6.3. So taking a look here, first and second place after the top 16 duked it out ended up being Anubis with William and Lucas at Bellastar or Bellastar. So third and fourth, I don't know who they are. If you guys mention it, I will update the video link that this doc is going to be there for. So you guys can check out all the lists yourself. So just stuff like this is good to know. Let me know down in the comments if you know who the third and fourth, and then who was the rest, like the top 8. I'll update this list. But right now, it's just top 4. We know there are 2 red hybrids in the top 4, 1 Anubis and 1 Bellastar. So it's kind of cool that they did extremely well. No surprise with Red Hybrid being a dominant threat. It seemed like Ukamon definitely pushed the deck where it needed to be because it switched into having Yokomon as its main egg, which could always whiff if you don't get the Tamer out in the right sequence. Now guaranteeing a draw because most people don't run option removal. So basically anytime the security is removed, that triggers because most likely it's a Digimon battle. So stuff like that's very important. But let's take a look at the first place list. So this Leviamon list, well, Anubismon list, went really different than any of the other ones in the event. So first off, it played 3 Biting Crush. So this card basically says by trashing 1 card in your hand, delete one of your opponent's level 6 or lower. If this effect trashed a card with 7 Great Demon Lords in its trace, place this card in the battle area with delay. When an effect plays an opponent's Digimon delay, you may play 1 Leviamon from your trash without paying its cost. So really sets up because then you want the Leviamon to come in and just say hi when your opponent just plays Digimon. That is huge. I like that they also were teching in the Black Gato UV verse. So basically, if let's say your opponent is playing Leviamon, this card can tech and they had Biting Crush. This card basically can make sure that Leviamon is at the bottom so it whiffs. Stuff like that's very important, especially getting rid of key pieces that could ruin your opponent's day. So, you know, Anubismon's just going to play the Mervamon out and spit out bodies. You know the whole deal. It's playing Saber Dramons because the raid Retal is just ridiculous. But what I really like of the list, it does play 1 Soulmon. Soulmon, at least getting a Soulmon out means that the likelihood of Crimson Blaze is not going to ruin your day. So that card right there will make sure that your bodies with retaliation is just a tad bit stronger. So when that Crimson Blaze hits, it's only going to kill the Soulmon. So now you have bodies that are going to stay a little bit longer, which is really good that you want to have that. So stuff like hitting magic numbers is really important. Then the Beelzemon Star or Bellastar. So this deck basically played in 2 mode shifts. Basically, it plays the Wergrumon X package that basically multi-attacks and puts your opponent on the back foot. And then basically what backs it up is the Bellastar that'll come down, either use Nailbone to stick some more bodies on board with the Ginkumon Promote play that swings in and does that whole crazy shenanigans. That is another lethal way of going about it, and it's really good. But Bellastar also has a lot of good options. So the likelihood of options hitting your security with this deck is pretty good, because even just having Kaitis Breath to bounce a threat back or Fly Bullet is really good. Or Happy Bullet Shower deletes all your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. Just another like Crimson Blaze like S card that just controls wide boards. So, and then you have like Rival Barrage dealing with threats. I like the X Antibody Protoform. It definitely helps in some instances I don't know exactly where, but I think it's just mainly just so that they could Digivolve up and then have a way of recovering one just to get them back in, because at the end of the day, it doesn't really do anything. This one's a free evolve. This is a free evolve. So making the reduce, I don't see where that's coming from, but I think this should have been a regular X antibody if you're going to have this route, but that's just me. But the free recovery is not a bad option once, you know, when this Digimon would leave the battle area other than buy one of your effects from this Digimon's dealers, return one Digimon card to your hand and place one X antibody at the top of security. That might be why. It might just be able to loop a piece of from the stack, so that might be it. I don't know, but really solid. I like the Matt Ishida tech. That definitely helps out, especially if you're promoting up. That means your Gabumon now has value, gains you an extra memory. Matt gains you an extra memory and a draw. So stuff like this really does matter. And I think this is a really solid list, all in all. Then we got the standings. Now we're going into standings. Right now we're going to look at Joseph's, Anubis, Jerry, Lee, Justin, Joanna, Wesley, Thean, I'm going to botch your name, it's new to me, Ken, Matthew, Alex, and then we have William, Mitchell, Nathan, Walkley, Wilkie, and Connor. So these two I botched. I'm sorry about that. I'm really bad with names in generalization, but we're going to go through. We took out Lucas and Williams list here from their tops, so they won't be shown in the regular list, but we're just gonna pop in here. So this Anubis list is kind of just generic. You kind of see this one very often. The only thing that it has an up on most lists that don't, this thing's playing 3 Maycrackmon Vicious Mode, so it's not a bad tech, especially if you can get her out at the right time or Digivolve at the right time. It really does lead to being some decent value. So just keep that in mind. I think all in all, the Levia is just a great tech. Just being able to slam him down by one of your effects is really cool. Then we do have Red Hybrid. Red Hybrid, this one was very interesting to me. This one stood out a little bit more. It's playing 3 Ukus, and this is Louis. It had Louis in it. So Louis was very interesting. So you may move one Digimon of your level 3 or higher from your breeding area to the battle area, and then when one of your Digimon moves from the breeding area to battle area by spending this tamer, gain a memory. So Louis is really solid, especially comboed in with Ukamon. Basically, you get to promote up a little bit earlier, stuff like that. Gets an extra body going, hatches, and then you Digivolve up again. And, you know, that Ukamon Louis basically feels like a combination of playing Mimi and gaining more value than Mimi naturally does. So this is really solid. You know, the Atomic Furno and all the good stuff, you're just presenting a really powerful threat because your speed is just faster than most decks. This is going to be really interesting. I love how these two cards really sped up the deck and gave it more consistency, especially Splash with the Koromon. So you also have Trident Gaia that is a really nice spicy tech because it deletes one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP if it was 13,000 or more. Deleted by this effect, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack, which can lead to being some draw value off of yourself if you use it from your side. So, and then Crimson Blaze just to deal with whiteboard matchups. Then we do not have another Red Hybrid list. You know, Emperor Greymon being teched into the list are really solid. I felt like I needed at least one of him when I play tested the deck, so I placed one in. I like the Gutsumon. It's basically another combination with Crimson Blaze that just stares at your opponent and goes like, oh, so you really want to do that? Do you really want to do that? Kind of situation where it's like you are playing the wide board game. You have Crimson Blaze to be a threat, but you also have Gutsumon that needs to be answered before they can continue their shenanigans. So stuff like this is very important. So I like it. I like it a lot. Then we had the one and only War Greymon list, the top. So Agumon's straight up. We know what most of this deck does. Comboed in with the ties and the Greymon, you produce a lot of option removal. Well, just kidding, not option removal. Security removal. So when you swing in, you'll have multiple ways of dealing enough damage. Comboed in, you can do 1, 2, 3, 4 naturally, and then you just Blitz Omni for game. I like the War Greymon X tech. It's just the natural way of going about things, just because anytime you clear out your opponent's security with a mass removal and you hit such big numbers that even DP minusing doesn't matter. And then you have Crimson Blaze controlling the wide board. You know, this is really solid list. I feel like there's nothing I would change personally in here. I feel like this is a very solid stock list. So just keep that in mind. Then we do have another Red Hybrid. Red Hybrid, just doing Red Hybrid shenanigans. They have Gutsumon, Nemon being the spice of this deck, just because I don't have a full answer on this, but my theory is, personally, is just a Nemon. A lot of people stand by Nemon being really good, and one of Nemon's favorite characters is Nemon from the season, but outside of that, nothing too crazy. Nemon just allows you, if one of your Digimon is deleted with a tamer, it basically gets to play one. We do have options of playing with our natural inheritables, but sometimes if you might not have a second one in hand, Nemon will just make sure you get it from the trash. So it's not terrible. Then we do have the Leomon. So Leomon's very interesting. Most people aren't really strong piloting the deck, but this deck can be really scary really quickly. Some combinations that really get ridiculous is like a Leopardmon X antibody play. So you may play one green Digimon from your hand with the play cost reduced by 4. So you combo in with Bancho Leomon's natural reduction of 5 plus 4 equaling 9. This thing comes in for 3 costs and can be a really nasty threat. Because on play, when Digimon suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and then when a Digimon becomes suspended, you may have one of your opponent's Digimon gain minus 4,000 and minus security attack 1 until the end of their turn. And this is a all turns effect, so this can lead to being scary shenanigans. You have like Breath of the Gods to slow down any, if this is hidden security, this stops the turn. And, this prevents your DP from getting minus, which can help in setcon matchups or any minusing matchups. Supergon Punch to go all out, gives an extra DP boost and gives you reboot, security attack +1, and blocker. So this can help with your heavy Leomon turns. And what's really nasty about this deck, it has a new keyword called Fortitude, which is basically the antithesis of what the Millenniumon was doing sets and sets ago. But this card just really nice. If you have a way of comboing out, is really nice. What I like about it is that both the ultimates have Fortitude. So when you swing in early with your Limon and your Leomon, because they'll Digivolve up, if they die in that combat cantrip, they'll just come onto the board again and deal with threats, because they're a non-play when Digivolving effect. You can de-Digivolve with your inheritable or minus DP, which is really good, because then if a Grapple Leo comes in, bottom deck's a 6k, that's not bad, or this one minuses another 3k, so de-Digivolve, who knows what the combination will be when they pops. So just really good all-around general stuff here. I like that they're running Heaven Judgment, Omnimon, Merciful Mode, just to get rid of the trash, which is really important, especially against the Anubismon mirror matchup. So all in all, good stuff here. I have no quorums with this list. I like it a lot. Then we have Shine Greymon. If you guys don't know how it goes about Marcus's punches in, Digivolves your stack up for free and just makes your opponent have a sad day. Shine Greymon here, just giving an extra security plus attack and 3,000 DP. And then you have Burst Smoke combination, which is bounce one of your tamers, play them, they get +12 and swing in. And then when your tamer attacks, you basically trash one of their security. So all in all, Dex is just very cohesive. 2 Crimson Blaze just to deal with whiteboards. Then we have Devas here. Devas is a really cool deck as well. So it focuses on using Mother D Reaper as the egg. So the egg, you can use your 2 options that are pure white, because if you don't have the Devas, which likely can happen, can be really hard for you to continue. And then you do have tamers like Analog Youth and Jedi, because it combos in with your things here, which is your white options. So Fang Longmon is antithesis of what a Towers is. Basically has protection from effects of Digimon. This thing is basically a threat on himself when he comes in, and he's just really powerful in generalization. Hard to remove. Only way you can remove him if you're your opponent is through the option removal. So very important to keep that in mind. But the deck basically wants generics, and you basically play a singleton style deck. There's not many duplicates you play at higher, but you know, there can only be one kind of style. There's just really good options. But Entilemon here is really nice because if you use any of these guys and put him into your raising area the following turn, if they didn't remove that level 5, you now can swing in with the Entilemon. That'll gain you some value out of it, because now it's 14. It's what? Set 15k. 2 security checks, which is really scary, and that early on can be very much a punishment. And then you do have like Bahu, Ezulong, Ibuwu, and Zuqualamon. All the Devas here are just burst Digi-evolutions that are just really useful. And then you have Bancho Leo just being Bacho. So when a Digimon becomes suspended, you know, we've talked about this. So all in all, really good text. I love the Heaven Judgment for the mirror, and Heaven Judgment just can remove anything long, basically, because of the multicolors you do play very easily can happen. So all in all, great stuff. Then we have the Poop deck, which is just basically a really nasty little annoyancy. So using things like King Edamon here, so when another one of your Digimon with Edamon or Sukumon's name is deleted, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP and gains a security attack 1 until the end of opponent's turn. All your Digimon with Edamon or Sukumon's name gain blocker until the end of, and cannot be returned to hand or decked. So on your opponent's turn, really a threat to deal with. And then you have this meta Edamon that basically says, on play, when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a 3 cost or lower or tamer for each card with Edamon or Sukumon in its name. In trash, add 1 maximum to the effect you can choose. So you can keep climbing pretty quickly, especially because you have so many Sukumons and Edamons. So opponent's turn, when an opponent's Digimon attacks by placing 1 Edamon or Sukumon in its name from your hand on the top of your security stack, switch the attack target to this Digimon or player. So this can combo in with this Edamon really nicely, because then, you know, if you have 3 or more Sukumons in their name in your trash, you may play 1 level 6 Edamon in its name from your hand without paying its cost. On deletion, place this card at the bottom of your security stack. So really solid, combos in nicely. King Sukumon's just really nasty, just does make an opponent's threat smaller, especially since we play so many Sukas that we can easily convert their thing into poop. So really solid defensive training, black memory, all the good stuff here. Then Red Hybrid, of course, because Red Hybrid is Red Hybrid. For Ukumon, just straight out, and then just Crimson Blaze, Atomic Inferno. They just went, I'm just going to kill you today. Then the next list is another Red Hybrid. So Flames, Boko, Ukas. You know the drill here by now. Atomic Inferno's, Crimson Blaze. And they are playing 1 Aldermon here that says by place, just helps you warp it. Main by placing 1 Aguni, 1 Burning Gray from your trash under one of your Takuyas in any order. Digivolve into this Digimon as if it was a level 4 red Digimon for its Digi-evolution cost. So, not a bad trade-off, especially because it gives you another way climbing back into Emperor Gray pretty quickly. Then we do have another the Anubis list here. Playing the Black Gato, UV. Ogremon's down to 1 copy, which I would probably never do that, but I like the spice with Doberman. Doberman's not a bad spice here, just because on deletion, trash 3 cards from the top of your deck, then return 1 purple Digimon card or a purple Tamer card. You're just going to return a purple Digimon card, so it returns a piece that you're going to need. Soulmon's at 3 in this list, which is really nice because all your Digimon retaliation gets plus 2000 DP, which means if you know Crimson Blade is coming, you can easily spit out a couple of them and get ready. So, you know, 1 Saber Dramon is really throwing me off. I would never play him at less than 1, but also playing 1 Spademon, just because Spademon's a Crossheart, which Mervamon can play, and then basically you can, you know, trigger his D-Digivolve on one of your opponent's Digimon, and it's really nasty. So, a nice combination of everything that goes on here. Then you have Flamemons, you know, Buku, Uka, Agunis, you know, another red hybrid shenanigans, you know, 3 Atomic Inferno, 1 Crimson Blaze, 1 Trident Gaia. Really solid, you know, the Gutsu and the Galsamon. Galsamon's really interesting because they can't use their trainings, basically, which can slow decks down pretty quickly. Looking at it now, Flames, Gutsu, you know, Atomic Inferno, Crimson Blaze, Takuyas. Yeah, Bokos, nothing too out of the ordinary here. Let me double check. There was one list that I think I overshot it or something. The Red Mem boost. Oh, this one. Sorry. One thing I didn't like about this list here, which is basically right after poop. This is right after poop. Yeah. Is Williams Red Hybrid list here. This one right here has the 4 offensive trainings. The functionality of this card diminishes the moment because you can't use this in conjunctions on top of your tamer. It is because it for how the game works is that Agunimon is digivolving by an effect. Offensive training is digivolving effect. You can't do both at the same time. So it doesn't count the tamer. So you can't use this with the tamer. I get it that you're searching out the tamer and other red pieces. That's fine. But after that, it diminishes in value with a Alderman. Unless you're evolving the stack out of raising, then it values itself a little bit. Outside of that, I don't know here. I don't really understand why we're seeing this. But out of that, I think that's just really interesting. But all in all, guys, what did you think of this video? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!